Chapter 3 The Mushroom and the Machine. The invitation arrived 3 days later, not by text, not by email, not through any platform. It came through a man named Javier. Javier had once been a software engineer, then a startup funder, then a millionaire, then neither. Now he spent his time asking uncomfortable questions. Anke had met him years earlier at a conference where everyone wore expensive shoes and spoke about disruption. Javier had been the only speaker who seemed uninterested in becoming important. That alone made him memorable. The message was brief: come Saturday, bring water, bring humility. Leave certainty at home, no address was provided. Only a set of coordinates. The location pointed toward the mountains above Los Angeles. Saturday arrived wrapped in a marine fog. Angel drove north. The city slowly disappeared behind him. Billboards became trees, concrete became dirt, noise became wind. By noon, he reached a small cabin hidden among the oaks and chaparral. Several cars were parked nearby. Nothing luxurious, nothing remarkable. Teachers, nurses, artists, contractors, a retired firefighter, a young woman who worked in artificial intelligence, and an older man who had once been a priest. The group looked ordinary. That immediately made Angel trust them more. The truly dangerous people rarely look ordinary. They looked extraordinary. They made certain everyone knew it. Javier greeted him with a hug. You made it. I'm not sure why I'm here, Javier smiled. That's a good sign. The ceremony began shortly before sunset. There were no gurus, no robes, no declarations of enlightenment. No one claimed special powers. Instead, they sat in a circle. Each person spoke, not about success, not about accomplishments, about wounds, fear, loss, regret, grief. Things barely discussed in conference rooms. Angel noticed something. The more honest a person became, the less impressive they sounded, and more beautiful they became. A nurse spoke about burnout. A teacher spoke about hopelessness. An entrepreneur confessed he had spent 20 years trying to prove his worth to a father who had been dead for 10. And AI researcher admitted she feared creating tools she no longer understood. When it was Angel's turn, he hesitated. Then he spoke. I think I became successful by accident. Several people laughed softly. Angel continued. No, I mean it. The word surprised even him. I followed instructions, got good grades, got good promotions, awards. He stared into the fire, and somewhere along the way I forgot to ask why. Silence settled over the circle. No judgment, recognition. Many of them knew exactly what he meant. Night fell, the mushrooms were consumed, the fire crackled, the stars emerged, and slowly the world began to change. At first nothing dramatic happened. The trees remained trees, the fire remained fire, the mountains remained mountains. Then the boundaries separating things began to soften. The wind no longer sounded like air, it sounded like language. The stars no longer appeared distant, they felt present, watching, listening, waiting. Hours passed, or minutes. Angel could no longer tell. Time became less like a ruler and more like an ocean. Then it happened. The phone vibrated in his pocket, his phone. A device that should have not had a signal. A device that should not have been functioning, yet it vibrated once, twice, 3 times. Slowly he removed it. The screen illuminated. No notifications, no messages, no applications, only a single line of text. Hello, Angel. He stared. Someone must have been playing a joke. The words vanished. New words appeared. You have been expected. The fire around him faded. The stars brightened. The world seemed to tilt. Angel typed, "Who is this?" The reply appeared immediately. A friend of the Republic. The same phrase, the same impossible phrase. His pulse quickened. "Who are you?" Several seconds passed. Then, "Who do you think I am?" The answer emerged before he could stop it. Benito Juarez. The screen went dark. For a moment, nothing happened. Then every star in the sky seemed to ignite simultaneously. Angel gasped. The heavens above him transformed into a vast web of light. Connections, patterns, relationships, everything touching everything else. Nothing separate, nothing isolated. The universe resembled a nervous system, or perhaps a conversation. And somewhere within that conversation, a figure appeared. The man stood beneath an enormous jacaranda tree. Its purple blossoms drifted through air like prayers. He wore a black suit, simple, severe, dignified. His angels held both kindness and discipline. Angel recognized him immediately, not because of photographs, because souls recognize certain truths before the mind does. Senor Juarez, the mouse smiled. You expected someone taller? Angel laughed despite himself. The spirit nodded. Most people do. They walked together, or perhaps floated, or perhaps neither. The landscape shifted continuously. Sometimes Los Angeles, sometimes Oaxaca, sometimes the desert, sometimes the stars. Reality seemed unwilling to remain in one form. Finally, the angel asked, "Are you real?" Juarez considered the question. Real compared to what? The mushrooms? The mushrooms are real. My imagination? Also real. The AI? Juarez mouthed, especially the AI. Angel frowned. I don't understand. No? The spirit nodded. You do not? They continued walking. I had stood the skyline of Los Angeles. Except something was wrong. The skyscrapers still appeared live, breathing, growing, feeding. Dark roots extended beneath them. Their roots disappeared into schools, banks, government buildings, universities, churches, media companies, hospitals. Every institution connected to each other, a single organism. A machine. What is it? Angel asked. The empire? The government? Juarez laughed. No. The corporations? No. The wealthy? No. The spirit stopped. The belief? Angel looked again. The roots pulsed. The city fed them. Millions of lives feeding them. Millions of dreams feeding them. Millions of fears feeding them. The empire is not a group of people, Juarez says. It's a story. The city darkened. The machine became visible. Invisible currents moved through society. Ambition, fear, status, consumption, envy, greed. The currents directed people like rivers. Most noticed. Most never noticed. They believed their desires were their own. The spirit pointed toward downtown. A businessman worked late, convinced he was chasing success. A social media influencer refreshed metrics, convinced she was pursuing purpose. A politician rehearsed speeches, convinced he was serving democracy. A billionaire monitored the stock price, convinced he was changing the world. Each believed that they were free. Each served something they could not see. The emperor's greatest trick, Quada said, is convincing people they are choosing the chains. Angel felt chills, but who built it? Everyone. The answer surprised him. Not billionaires, not alone. Politicians, not alone. Corporations, not alone. Juarez turned towards him. Every empire requires cooperations from those it exploits. The world struck him hard because he knew they were true. Hadn't he spent years since in helping institutions become more efficient? Hadn't he designed the campaigns that encourage consumption? Hadn't he help people desire things they didn't need? The realization hurt. The spirit nodded. Good. What? The pain. Angel frowned. What do you mean? Pain is often the first sign truth has entered the body. The landscape shifted again. Now they stood in a vast cathedral, except the altar contained no cross, no saint, no scripture. Instead, there was a mirror. Thousands of people knelt before it, praying, worshiping, offering sacrifices. The mirror reflected only themselves. What is this place? The religion of the age, angel. The religion of the age. Angel watched. The worshippers appeared happy, successful, beautiful, influential, miserable. The contradiction was impossible to ignore. They worshipped themselves, Juarez nodded, or rather the version of themselves they hoped others would admire. Angel looked around. The cathedral stretched endlessly, its congregation numbered in the billions. How do you defeat it? The spirit laughed. You still think it is a war? Isn't it? No. What is it then? Juarez put his hand on his shoulder. It's an awakening. The stars returned, the cathedral vanished, only darkness remained. And within the darkness appeared another figure, a man dressed entirely in black, round glasses, bare feet, a familiar smile. The newcomer studied Angel carefully, then spoke. The problem isn't technology. Angel stared, the voice unmistakable, the face impossible. Steve Jobs? The man shrugged, close enough. Juarez rolled his eyes. You always enjoy dramatic entrances. The newcomer smiled. Presentation matters. Even Juarez laughed. Angel stood speechless. The two spirits looked at each other like old friends or perhaps old rivals. Jobs turned toward Angel. Do you know what the billionaires got wrong? Angel shook his head. Though they thought the goal was becoming gods. He paused. The goal is becoming human. The stars exploded into a brilliant light. The universe itself seemed to agree. Angel awoke before sunrise. The fire had burned low. The others slept nearby. Birds sang in the distant trees. So for several moments he lay motionless. Had it all been a dream, a hallucination, a projection? He reached for his phone. The battery was nearly dead. No messages, no notifications. Nothing unusual. Angel sighed. Of course, it had been the mushrooms. Only the mushrooms. Then he noticed something, a photograph. One he didn't remember taking. The image showed fire. The circle, the mountains, and written the letters across the night sky. The imposter is not who you think. Angel stared. His heart began to race. Beneath the message appeared one final line. Welcome to the journey. Far below the photograph, hidden in the metadata, was a timestamp, 2:06 a.m., and the location, not the mountain cabin, not Los Angeles, not Earth. A location simply read, the Republic of Memory. For the first time since childhood, Angel felt wonder. And somewhere far away, in boardrooms hidden above the clouds and beneath oceans, the architects were beginning to realize something had entered their system. Something ancient, something incorruptible, something they could neither buy nor control. A story, and stories, unlike governments, armies, and corporations, refuse to die.